Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am giving you guys an update because it has been over a year now since I've uploaded my last video, and I need to update you guys a little bit. You are probably wondering where I'm at. That will be in the following updates video because right now I'm going to recap the last year. But essentially, to give you guys some quick more recent updates than what this video will be, is I finally moved out on my own. I've got my own trailer, house, whatever you want to call it, house trailer, I don't know, but I am renting a trailer now, and I'm out on my own. It's a 2-bedroom. I've been living here since February of this year, so that is one of the big updates. And also, I am in a new relationship, and I am in a same-sex relationship with a wonderful, amazing woman who I love so much. And she also has a daughter, but she will probably not be in my videos, neither one of them, because she is a very private person, and she has a daughter that we have to protect kind of from the internet. So she probably won't be in very many of my videos. You might see her in a couple of vlogs if you follow me over there. But other than that, she probably won't be in a whole lot of videos, and that's just because she doesn't want it to be. But she is a very wonderful person. I love her to death. And yeah, so those are the recent updates, which I will do a separate video. But right now, I want to talk about 2020, because it was January of 2020 the last time I uploaded an updates video, and it was about June of 2020 the last time I uploaded a video, period, which is still a little over a year ago. So I want to give you guys an update on what's been going on and why I haven't been uploading. This is going to be a shorter updates video. I'm just going to touch on some of the big things that happened in 2020 rather than my normal update videos where I touch on every little teeny tiny thing. But I have a year and a half to cover with you guys, and I want to give you kind of a quick run through and throw out some of the big things that have been happening in my life since I last talked to you. So that is what I am doing today, and then the video after this will be another updates video for 2021. So I just wanted to kind of separate them a little bit and tell you guys what happened last year and then what is happening this year so far. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to try not to make this too long, but I also love doing these videos because I love being able to look back on my life as well. And I want you guys to have an update on where I've been, because it's been over a year since I've made a video, and well over a year since I've made a sit-down video. So let's just jump right into it. So the last time I uploaded a video was middle of January 2020. So right after that, on January 28th of 2020 was my birthday. And I actually had to work. I was working at a retail store then, and I actually was working there until recently. I've worked there for almost 3.5 years. And on my birthday last year, I got sent flowers and balloons and all kinds of stuff at my work. We did that, and then the following weekend on February 1st, me, my brother, and my stepdad all went to a water park called Massanutten, and we celebrated my birthday there. Sorry, my dog is running around the house right now chasing flies. But yeah, last year on February 1st, we went to celebrate my birthday at the Massanutten Water Park. We went to B-Dubs and got Buffalo Wild Wings for my birthday because I love wings. That's like my favorite. You want to come say hi, Emmy? You want to say hi? This is my puppy. You guys have met her before, but she's running around the house right now. Those were the only two major things that I wanted to talk about for January and February. March, of course, is when COVID hit and everything went freaking crazy in the world. My state, West Virginia, was one of the last states to get COVID, which we were thankful for, and our death rate is not nearly as high as some of the other places, but our population is also pretty low too. I didn't get it last year. Me and my girlfriend and her daughter actually had it a couple weeks ago now, but that's a different story. Last year I was working in a retail store We had so many different restrictions and regulations that we had to follow. We had to clean a certain amount of times with certain products and yada yada. And it was just crazy work environment. All of March, all of April, all of last year, it was just crazy at work to be an essential worker during that time. So that took a big toll on me. That's part of the reason why I didn't upload as much as I used to, because I was just so busy at work and trying to manage COVID stuff. But March is when all that hit, at least here for me. And then March 20th, which is something I'll talk about in a later video. Part of the reason why I didn't upload last year is I was living in a very domestic situation with my parents. And it got to a really bad point. My mom is an addict, which is something I've never said publicly before. But people in my life know, and she got very violent with me. And on March 20th of 2020, we actually had charges pressed on us. We had an incident where the cops got called and charges got pressed on both of us. And we ended up having to go to court and get it all settled. But luckily, all the charges have been dropped now. They never convicted either one of us of anything, which is good. I'm away from the situation now, so that's also good. April, pretty much the only thing I have on the list for April was Easter 2020. April 12th was Easter last year. And we spent it with my mom and my dad and my brother. We had a little dinner at the house, and then I had to work, of course. So that was the big update for April. Of course, more COVID stuff happening. May, I actually got out of a situation with my mother. Not a domestic situation, but up until May of last year, the vehicle I was driving was actually my mom's. It was in her name, and it was that Ford Focus that you guys saw me driving in my vlog videos. And in May of last year, I actually bought my own car, paid for completely with my own money. It's not the newest or nicest thing, but it is a 2000 Toyota Corolla, and I still have it. It still runs fine. I paid $1,200 for it, which was not a lot considering the shape that it's in. It's in really good condition. I still have it, still drive it. Doesn't have a lot of miles on it, and it's been a really good car for me. And I actually got to put it in my name for the first time. Not the first time I've had a car in my name, but the first time I've actually straight out bought one that wasn't leased out to me, etc. And I was very proud to be able to take the money that I've worked hard for and that I earned and got me a car with it. So I still have that. That was on May 2nd of 2020. May 28th, I had two aunts pass away within 48 hours of each other. On May 28th is when my Aunt Diana passed away. She was really, really close to me. She was my granddad's sister, and when I was growing up, she was the one that always bought us Christmas presents, the one that always took care of all of us grandkids. And especially since my grandfather passed away when I was 5, his grandkids never really got much to do with that side of the family, and she was always the one that kind of tried to keep us included and keep us in the loop. And I also lived with her at a certain point in my life, and it was really hard to lose her. It was all of a sudden. She was only 70, which to some is still pretty old, but she was in pretty good condition. She had a pacemaker, and she ended up having some heart issues with it, and she passed, unfortunately. And that was on May 28th. And actually on May 30th, 2 days later, I lost another great aunt of mine, my Aunt Geraldine, who is my mom's sister. So I lost my granddad's sister and my grandma's sister all at the same time within 2 days of each other. And I wasn't super close with her, but it was devastating, of course, because losing an aunt is very devastating, especially losing two within 2 days. So that was May. June, of course, the big update I have for June was Father's Day of June last year was on the 21st. And also that was the day that my neighbor brought her baby boy Waylon home. I do not speak to them anymore because I don't live there. But my neighbor and I were really close when I lived at my mom's house in that situation. She helped me through a lot in the situation that I was in, and she gave birth to her baby boy the day before Father's Day, brought him home on Father's Day, and we got to have a big party. It was like a Father's Day / welcome home baby wailing kind of party, and so that was a lot of fun last year. And then we switched to July of last year. So July of 2020 was a shit show, and I'm hoping July this year that we're in right now, July, will be much better than what it was last year, because it was a mess. So on July 2nd, I had taken one of my friend's kids to the swimming pool here in town, and we were there hanging out, just having a ball, me and him. And I got a phone call that my mom had been into a fight, and it's a long story. I don't want to go into details because it's not my business to tell, but essentially my mom got into a fight with somebody and ended up falling and breaking her shoulder. And long story short, she ended up having to have surgery on it, and she tore a rotator cuff. She has a big scar right here on her arm. But July 2nd is when that happened. It was kind of crazy. We were out having fun and got a phone call that Mom was on the way to the ER with what they thought was a broken shoulder. Turns out it was a broken shoulder. Months later, she had to have surgery, etc., etc. It was a big deal. Then, 2 days later, on July 4th, I actually got promoted at my job. I was a cashier, and I got bumped up after 2.5 years. I finally got bumped up to an assistant manager, and was assistant manager of the store I worked in. But because I was an assistant manager, that also meant that my boss, my manager, was leaving. She had transferred to a different store. She wanted to go back to her hometown, and so she transferred out. And that was kind of hard, but it was also a good thing. It was a good thing for all of us, because had she not moved away, the position would not have been available. So it was kind of like bittersweet. But she was really close to me. She was the best boss I've had. I still talk to her every now and then and keep up with her. She was like another mom figure to me. She understood everything that I was going through with my own mother, and was very understanding when I had to miss work or had to rearrange schedules, and I just love her to death. Melissa, if you ever watch these videos, I love you. You know I do. A couple weeks later, we had trees fall on top of my house. So if you guys have ever watched my vlog videos, or it might actually be on this channel as well, we had a big tree in my backyard at my mom's house that was starting to split 3 different ways, and we had a big storm one day, and it knocked everything down, and my backyard looked like a jungle. If I still have the pictures, I will insert one here so you can see. But it looked like a jungle in my backyard, and it took us months and months and months to clean it up, and there's actually still a brush pile in the back of my mom's house. So it's been a mess. 2 days later, when we were out trying to clean up the mess that the trees have made, my stepdad had a stroke. And it was kind of crazy because I had left. I was stressed out. A lot had been going on. My mom broke her shoulder. Trees fell on the house. Work stuff was crazy. I had left to go to a place called Mount Storm, where it is pretty much like my happy place. I went up there to the lake with my friend and got a text message while I was up there, or on my way back from there, saying that my dad was having stroke-like symptoms and on the way to the ER. Turns out he did have a stroke. He had his stroke on July 24th, and I didn't get to go to the hospital to see him because of COVID until the 30th. We actually snuck the dog in to see him because the nurse gave us permission to. But the reason they gave us permission to is because he was also being transferred to another hospital. The hospital he was at the time was about an hour away. It was just right over the mountain in Virginia. And the hospital they later transferred him to, it was a rehabilitation center for stroke patients, or for any patients, but you know, it was because of his stroke. It was actually 3.5 hours away in Morgantown, and so because they were transferring him out, they actually let me go in and see him before he transferred so far away. So we got to go in and see him. Then I had to figure out how to get out there to take care of him. His rehabilitation center had training that we needed to do, and you know, they were helping him rehab, but they also needed to transition him home. So I had to go out there. I went out there August 11th, and now that we're transitioning into August, I went August 11th. I got a hotel room and stayed in a cheap hotel room, and went the following day to kind of work through some of his exercises with him. It was kind of like a training program for when he transitioned home. And I also got to go to Cooper's Rock out there, which is this big hiking path slash campground, state park, whatever you want to call it. It's gorgeous. There's pictures of it on my Instagram if you guys want to go over there and check it out. But I loved it. I needed that because so much had happened in my life at that point. I just needed to go sit somewhere pretty and peaceful and enjoy that. So that's what I did. And then I went and did all the rehab stuff with him, and then I drove 3.5 hours home. And then a week later, I had to drive back out to Morgantown, another 3.5 hours. I got a super, super nice suite out there. I had never stayed in anything quite that nice. And it was right across from the rehabilitation center. It was actually a long-term hotel suite place, and it was super, super nice. It was pretty decently affordable. But it was for patients or family of patients that were in that rehab center. So I stayed there a night. I had this giant king-size bed. They had a grand piano in the lobby. Like, it was a super nice place. Multiple rooms. I could close off a living room, close off this bedroom. I had never stayed in anything like that. Normally I just stayed in like the big one-room hotel room. But this place was super nice. I loved it. I went out there the 18th, stayed the night, and then on the 19th, I got to pick my dad up from the rehab and drive him clear back here and start his outpatient in-home therapy type stuff, which I had a lot of fun out in Morgantown. I would love to live out there. It's college town. It's where WVU is, but they also, like, I live in the country. We don't have delivery. We don't have Grubhub. We don't have none of that fancy stuff that everybody else has. But when I was in Morgantown, I was Grubhubbing everything. I was getting shit delivered and not having to see a soul. Like, they left it at my hotel door, gave me a text message when they had left. My food was right there. All I had to go is grab the bag. Like, it was the best. For somebody who has anxiety and is an introvert, I would be broke if I lived out there. So it's a good thing I live where I live right now. And then the rest of August and pretty much all of September was just transitioning him into at-home living, you know, doing all his paperwork, doing all his therapies, doing all his doctor's appointments and this and that and work. And at this point, work had picked up because of coronavirus, and the cases in my state were starting to rise rapidly, and people were freaking out, and toilet paper was out, and it was just a big chaotic situation. So, and then all of October was pretty much taking care of my dad. And then on October 27th, and this is something I don't want to go into too much detail about again because this is a situation with my father. He had to pretty much cancel the business because he had a stroke, couldn't work. And there was some issues that were happening there because of the circumstances he was under with just having a stroke. They took him to a hospital, let him get some of the treatment he needed there. And then the following day, he got home. On the 28th, he actually moved out of my house. Him and my mom were having issues, and this issue just caused more issues between them. And so he moved to Stanton, Virginia, which is where he lives now, and he moved in with a family member. He lives there. He got all that stuff handled. It was emotional. It was hard because I had lived with him since I was 13, so it was hard moving out in the circumstances that it was. And then the 31st of October obviously was Halloween. I got to dress up at the store at my work, and I was an Indian, which was super cute. Again, Instagram has pictures of that. And then November hit, and the third day of November was the election. And I don't even want to go into politics, but you guys know the craziness that the election, and it took them like 10 days to fucking count ballots, and like all the craziness that ensued because of the election. That was the 1st of November. The end of November, on the 26th, was Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, because my parents were separated, was quite different. It didn't feel the same. I didn't spend it with both my parents. I had dinner with one at one time, and then I went across state lines to Virginia and I had dinner with my family over there, and it was a weird holiday season. I wasn't a fan of it. Didn't like it at all. So yeah, wasn't a fan of that. December was again just work until the 22nd of December was my brother's 21st birthday. I went to him and his girlfriend's house where he was living at the time, and I hung out with him. We had a couple drinks, we hung out, opened presents. It was pretty chill for a 21st birthday party. We literally watched 1,000 Pound Sisters and drank, and that was his 21st birthday party. So I had fun with it, he had fun with it, I hope. So that was a thing. Then Christmas Eve, I went down and bought my cousins some Christmas presents because I knew the holiday season was going to be weird, because it's always been weird ever since my grandmother died when I was 17. But this year was even more different because the habits I had got into since my grandmother died were now gone. The traditions that we had created after that were now gone because my parents were separated, and living in two different places. So the holiday season was just weird, and I told my cousin, I said, I love your babies to death. They're not babies. One's getting ready to turn 10, the other just turned 8, and one is 5. So they're not babies, but anyways, I told her that I wanted to be able to buy her kids some presents, and so I did. I went out and bought them Christmas presents, and on Christmas Eve, I went and spent Christmas Eve with them, let them open their presents, and I just think seeing Christmas through a kid's eyes is probably the best thing ever. Like, anytime I'm feeling sad, I go and buy a kid like a $5 toy, and they're like the happiest thing in the world, and it just makes me so happy. They actually have a birthday party coming up this weekend, and they were excited for me to buy them an LOL doll for $7. Like, kids are not hard people to please. The adults are the ones. So Christmas Eve, I went and spent the day with them, and then I came home. I was supposed to have dinner with my mom. She ended up going out with somebody else, didn't want to spend Christmas with her kids. So I left and I went to my dad's, and I spent Christmas Eve night there. I spent all day Christmas Day with them. I got a new pair of shoes from his aunt, and we just kind of hung out there. Christmas Day was spent mostly with my dad and his aunt. I eventually went home that evening and spent a little bit of time with my mom. She was supposed to make a dinner, but that really didn't happen, but it was just me and her anyway, so we hung out. It was Christmas, and that was pretty much it. You guys can see that on my vlog channel too. It was not like a normal Christmas for us. It just didn't feel like Christmas. I wasn't excited for Christmas. It was just another day, pretty much. Then a couple days later, on the 31st, I had to work till 10 o'clock that night. But then I went back to my cousin's house with all the kids, and we rang in the new year with a couple drinks, and a whole bunch of kids. Pretty much is how it's been. And I ended up staying there the first couple days of the year and just enjoying the kids, having fun with them. And I loved it. I have so many pictures and videos of the kids, and I just love it. And that was pretty much my 2020 in a quick recap, with all the main events that happened. There was a lot more littler things, but essentially it was a year of trauma and COVID and abuse and everything else. And then going into January of this year, I finally got away from that situation, which will be the next video that I upload. Will be updating you guys since then. But that's pretty much my 2020. A lot of stuff happened in 2020, and now that I made this video, I just kind of want to forget that 2020 ever happened. It was probably the worst year in a long time. So that is it for this video. I am going to go and see my girlfriend now, and hang out with her, and I think we're going to go swimming. Then I will film my other video updating you guys on the more recent updates, the ones that you guys want. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry for being gone so long. I'm starting now to get back into the habit of my life and things I used to do, so I hope you guys have been patient with me. I hope you stick around. and some exciting life things are coming up, hopefully. And I will see you all in my next video. Like, subscribe, do all those good things, comment. Let me know how your 2020 was if you want to bring up that year. If not, just give the video a like. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.